Hello. Hello. I see that some of you are here already. Hello, Diane. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Alex. I don't know how you are feeling, but it's pretty sensational and it may be rocking you all over the place. So we're well in the solstice energies. It's the 22nd here today at 11 a.m. in New Zealand. And so I want to share with you some of the information that's been coming through about divine counterparts and general information that applies to that. And then what I did yesterday. Hello, Charlotte. So yesterday on the 21st, Elizabeth and I, we went out to Muriwai. So yesterday, Muriwai is this black sand beach that it's a well-known surf beach, and it's on the west coast, and it's one of the black sand beaches that we have here in New Zealand on the west coast. And it has a kind of a number of sections. And so one section is known as carrying more of the feminine energies, and then the sort of headland between that beach and the other beach, there's a huge cave which is very womb-like, and certainly I've gone in there before and done sacred ceremony in that cave, bringing in the codes. I don't remember when, but I remember being there, and I remember that during that ceremony I found myself tumbling in the apex of the pyramid of Giza. That was before I'd physically visited there, and I was watching the codes coming in. Anyway, then the big long beach has all this masculine energy, so it was really interesting. And so we went there because in March there was a cyclone that came through that really, can't even talk about it without feeling wobbly on the inside, that came through and really seriously impacted houses and property and people and the community. So there were I think 3 beings who died, and 2 of them were men working in the rescue. And I apologise because I can't remember whether they were firemen or police, but they were in there as part of the rescue crew. So land slips and looks and feels very scarred, although it seemed different when we left. But in a way, we sang to the land, we sang to the people, we sang to the ocean. So we were sitting above the beach, so we were guided to be in 3 different locations. And so the very first thing, so we were guided to go to one place first. So we did a bit of a reconnoitre and felt in, and each of us got different things, and so we began sitting way up above the beach that represents the feminine energy, and as we stood above that, I watched the goddess Venus rise up out of the water. So the goddess Venus, and the planet Venus, of course, is very clearly and strongly in this constellation at the moment, I believe, in connection to the constellation, and that Venus is in the constellation of Cancer, or is in the, however you frame that. And so, the energy of Cancer is very water-based and is very strongly energetic in the heart and in compassion, and very can be very deep. And so it, it just always blows me away how these things come together. Just like when we went and did that ceremony at Lake Rotuiti, and it turns out that actually, because I saw the umbilical, and it turns out, and I didn't know this, it turns out that Lake Rotuiti is the womb representation of water in New Zealand. So, there's all these amazing synchronicities that happen. Good morning, Natasha, and good morning, Miriam. So yesterday that happened while we were there, and we sang to the land, and we we called in beings of light, and we called in clearing and compassion and love and healing from the tiniest particle right through the quantum of creation. And then the weather changed, of course, so the weather started to clear. And then when we were finished there, I said to Elizabeth, "Oh, look, yes, we've definitely finished the masculine and moving, because there were quite a lot of people surfing, and it was while we were doing this particular part towards the end, there was stillness, really. So there was a long wait between sets. If you've been a surfer, that's the space between when the series of waves comes in, and then there's a lull before the next series of waves come in. And there's some rhythm to that, but the patterning and the rhythm sort of often has some kind of constancy in its sequence. And so there were long waits between sets. And then all of a sudden, when we finished and we looked at one another, and we're just checking in, do you feel we're done? And then I said to Elizabeth, well, look, there's our physical sign, because all of a sudden there were, I think, 5 surfers on the beach in the interchange. So a couple moving down the beach to go out, and 3 moving out of the surf to have completed. So there was this movement where there had just been stillness, because they were all just sitting in the water waiting for the next set. So we were there, and it was very moving. I feel moved when I speak about it, but a lot of scarring in that beautiful land. And then we went to the other beach, which holds the more masculine energy, and we played around with where we were meant to be. So there's an entrance gateway to that beach. So we spent a little bit of time tuning there, and then we went and sat up above that beach so that we could see down the beach as well. So we did a few things there, and there's a crystal city there. So this, I said to Elizabeth, I see the crystal city. It's come up, and I said it just exploded. But it exploded in this way of beauty, in a way. It's like it rose up, and it exploded like a part of the toroidal field, and it became this toroidal field. But what was interesting, I wasn't sure about exactly what it was, but I got these bits. So I could see that when this crystal city exploded, that it exploded into cubes, that the crystal was made of cubes. And so, that's, I've been looking that up today, and so it's a fit really with it being some kind of quartz crystals, and that's how it looks. That city looks very clear, crystalline, with a little blue tinge. And then I I knew that it was about this upgrading, this improvement, this dimensional shift that this, even though this crystalline city was sitting in there, and I want to say it was the fifth dimensional crystalline city, that now that's old frequency. So that was the first thing. So I recognized that it was going to be reconstituted to a seventh or ninth dimensional frequency. Anyway, I have tuned into that a little bit and what I got around it. So in the early, I've been awake for most of the night. In the early hours of the morning, I got told that this was the representation of the divine masculine, that the divine masculine are being reconstituted, they're being realigned, they're being reformed to a higher frequency, to a higher structural composition, really. And that yeah, I think that was it. Let me just check. I wrote a couple of sentences somewhere. Oh, I did do a recording in the middle of the night about that. I forgot that. It represents the reconstitution of the divine masculine, the reformation. So yeah, it just exploded into this kind of toroidal field. So let me go back here to what I have written, and feeling really a lot of very strong energy pouring through me today and yesterday. It's very, well, for me, it feels very high frequency. It's a streaming energy. It holds a lot of bliss, and yet it's kind of mixed with a lot of other things, because I feel that we are, we are being the conduits for a lot of this release, for this purification. So it can feel a bit like our our fields, our energetic fields are, having sort of a bit of debris come through them. So there's been a lot of energies coming in through the crown and through the third eye, both front and back, and then through the throat, the higher heart, the heart and the sternum. So that has definitely been showing up as an alignment or a realignment, a coalescing of the energetics of the masculine. And of course, each of us hold that aspect of masculinity. But this has been, I want to say, this creation of this connection of the higher chakras in the physical body, directly impacting our masculine side, and it's an enabler. So it is enabling the masculine to be able to explore their emotions, to explore the communication that they're receiving through their heart space that's been hugely opened and activated. Their emotional body is coming online very strongly, and then up through the heart and the throat, and being able to speak it out. So being able to speak out, more strongly, more with greater clarity, their own truth, their own feelings, their own emotions. They are, and I want to say, in a mill, that in a mill of things moving around and reforming, reconstituting, as they are coming into their higher level of consciousness, and they are coming into their divine aspects. So it's very important for us to remember and acknowledge that they have gone through and are sort of completing what we have gone through, but in maybe half the time. And so it's very massive. It's very massive. It's very extreme for them. I'll just read these and then I'll see what else comes. Hello, Amanda. And hello, Charlotte. Resonating as I feel like I was sitting on my board back there. Amazing healing energy there. Yes. Yeah, it's a bit like being on the edge of the world sometimes, being out there. There's this huge ocean that just disappears, but it's the perspective of it is just ocean. It's not wrapped in any way. Like a lot of beaches are wrapped with a headland, and it does have a little bit of that, but it has this extreme expansiveness, has a lot of crystalline nature to it. So on the 20th, I wrote this. Yeah. So energies on the 20th were pouring very strongly into my third eye aspect of my forehead on the 20th. I asked Gaia to speak to me about the divine masculine, and she started by speaking to me about the divine feminine. So she said, and I certainly align with this, and let me know if you do, that divine feminines are being stretched to the point of the band being let go. This has happened on a collective level, which has had an effect on the divine masculines, who are now feeling ease from the sensation of being pulled and are now exploring their hearts as they are opening wider and wider, and many are being reset for the higher. That is alignment and embodiment of higher dimensional self. So tomorrow, the solstice, this was on the 20th, so we were speaking of yesterday and today, but there's been this energetic window. It showed up to me that it opened around the 16th, but we're strongly still in these solstice energies. The Schumann resonance, however, and however that was created, that showed this massive leap, I believe. A lot of people are referencing that as an indication, a sign of a message around our DNA, and certainly you'll hear in the notes about, maybe I've already spoken about that, where we've talked about these energies coming in from the galactic center, from the heavenly codes, from the heavenly realms and the stars, as well as the solar from the sun, these upgrades. But Gaia said the solstice will have this huge impact on the twins, that there will be some internal catalytic movement for both that has the effect of both being switched on, like a circuit breaker being repositioned. So a circuit breaker in I think in both an industrial and a domestic sense. A circuit breaker is there as a device that when it gets overloaded, it pops open, it disconnects, it breaks the circuit. And so what is interesting is her talking to me about that it's now being reconnected. So the circuit breaker And when that breaks open, that's when our PowerPoints don't work or some appliance doesn't work. It's a safety measure. And so she's speaking that is what has happened between twins. Now, I haven't asked, I just trust, well, I haven't asked if or where that has come from, but it's to do with this excess energy that we've been carrying, and it's also been to do with timing. There's so much of this that is all tied up in divine timing. So now these have been reset. So if you see it, that it was like this, and now it's been reset. And so now these counterparts can come back into this system of flow. It also, there's something else to go with that goes with that. So let me just return to my the process of what I was being shown for that. Yeah, it's like being given a code or a signal to process, to be in readiness for the next part. It's similar to the starter gun being fired or the bell being rung. So this energetic circuit will provide knowing and propulsion for the divine masculines, and blossoming and smiling for the divine feminines. Heart magnitudes are greatly amplified through this time. Connections made in a physical, tangible, energetic sense. So that may show up in a number of ways, a myriad of ways, really. And so many of you may have some kind of physical connection through a message, or you might have a physical, energetic connection. You might feel like they are beside you, or that they have touched you on the shoulder. You might see more and more synchronicities again around their name, around seeing beings who look like them. You might be back to hearing voices that sound like them, all of those early synchronicities that showed up. Well, they're showing up for the divine masculine, but they may be reoccurring in your life if you're a divine feminine. So these in the body followed, well, let me just go to here. In the body, so these are bringing the specialized codes into form, into the new relational and unity templates, and will be followed by communication and movement. So as each divine counterpart opens their heart wide, it aligns then with true, authentic, and aligned divine God, Goddess self. The new keys, the new codes for humanity, these are activated through this time, strongly to return to original, organic, divine source creation, and our divinity coming fully online once again. So this is the movement that we are in. Gaia said, be still and know that you are merging and embodying your higher God, Goddess self to be anchored into the earth. And that although the timing seems delayed, feels delayed, I'm sure that many of you are feeling like that. It's enough. I'm tired. If I speak as divine feminine to the divine masculine, I want to say I'm tired. I'm tired to the bone. I'm tired in my soul. I am needing to have you here. I am needing to be held. I am needing to be in your presence. I need to lie in your arms and sleep. I feel that I have not been able to sleep, um, and that has been something that I'm looking forward to, deeply sleeping in your arms when you arrive. I know that this has been very challenging for you, that you have been jarred awake and prized apart through these very strong kinetic energies in the physical, and that it's been a much softer experience for me and a longer one. And I acknowledge that you require courage. I acknowledge that you have had to really move quite quickly to come to the place that you're at now. I thank you for all of the space that you've held for me in my growth and development, and for the fact that I am who I am because of you. But you are me and I am you. We are the same, and we are coming to a place where the energy between us can be kind of neutralized, if you like, and balanced. And then that enables us to sit in the common space, this higher way of being and higher consciousness and higher communication. And I look to that happening in the perfect divine timing. Thank you. So take a breath if you are here and acknowledge the parts of that that may apply to you. I want to say to you that you are divine, you are amazing, and you came here for great purpose. And it has taken such a long time to do the undoing, and that we are in the final leg of the undoing, that it happens in divine timing, and that divine timing is aligned with sequential opening, sequential closing, sequential timing, and that we are getting close to that. We are, in the general sense of things. There is more disclosure, more truth telling that are coming in that three-dimensional way, that enables more people to be able to face that we've been imprisoned in this land, that we have been strongly lied to, that we have been sitting in a lot of, well, really in the false matrix, if you like, but that is changing, that the false matrix is in very strong dissolution, that it's on its way out in a very strong way, that will show up more and more strongly in the next few months and over the rest of this year. And it is in that timing that we will watch a lot more awakening. And so I want to say to you, that I know that you, like me, have been on this path, and that we have been these divine beacons of light. We've been these warriors of light, that we have brought healing, that we have brought salving to humanity, to the whenua, to the land, to the water, to the wairua, the spirit, and that this is the undoing of thousands of years of infiltration, of evil and of darkness, and that it is that I want you to know that this is so huge that we will never return. We will never return to this in our world. This is whatever you want to ascribe the word war to. This is the war to end all wars. This is the battle to end all of the past intrusions, imprisonments, evil. And we are on the end phases of that, and that is becoming clearer and clearer. And I know that if you can let go of that 3D aspect that we all have about wanting to, be in this beautiful, amazing connection, that if you can release the physical aspects of it and know that you are there now energetically, and it's like the loose ends are being tied up or untangled, or the disentanglement. We're in the final throes of the disentanglement. As we're bringing in the new, as we're sort of resting back more into the quantum, um, and so there's so many things that happen or can happen that sit in the realm of possibility in this quantum space. And so this is why it can all happen, on the turn of a dime, in the flick of a finger, because we are not just in speeding up time, we are in the acceleration of speeding up time. And this is, the dissolving of the last bits. And whilst we are ready, and I know that you are. And if you are not sure that you are, then you check in with self. Is there anything else here? Is there anything that holds me from being in this connection with my divine counterpart? And I want to just sort of throw these words at you as well, even though to me it's not important, but they've kind of come in a little bit, and I thought I'd just share them with you, although I probably won't go into the details of it because I don't believe it's important. But if you resonate with any of these, it might be a little bit of information for you. But yesterday, these things tumbled out of my mouth as I was driving us out to the beach, and I said, "Oh yeah, there's something about that that it could be. It could be that twins are twin souls, twin stars, twin planets, twin waters, twin flames, twin fires." Um, so yeah, if you resonate with any of those, that's what came out of my mouth yesterday, a little bit unbidden, which I don't mean that I hand over the control of what comes out of my mouth, but I hadn't processed that. That just came out in a very channeled way. As we were having conversation about this and about the collective consciousness and about the impact that these connections are going to have. And so the timing of that is just so much bigger than us, that it has to be that the planet is ready for the receipt of the frequency wave that gets created when enough of these come together, that humanity can receive it without dying, that there is enough of the dissolution of the evil, the gathering of that it can be appropriately dealt with, because we are setting this up for eternity, and our world will never be the same again. We are moving back into a higher dimension. We will never return to this lower dimensional space. And then, hello, Andrea. Let me see where I'm up to here. Oh yes, Charlotte, I can imagine you sitting on your board back there. And there's there's a bench right up above that beach that's made out of 2 surfboards. So we were actually sitting on that. And this very high perspective that we had. And hello, Lauren. Yes, physically and emotionally tired, that's for sure. And so I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of Gaia, and on behalf of the human pulse, really, for all that you do and all that you've done. And Lauren's saying they are coming home. Cancer season is about the home, and that is so true. And that's what we are into now, right? We're into Cancer season now. We're on the edges of Cancer season. So Venus, the planet Venus, is in the home of Cancer now, or in the however you frame that. But maybe we can say that. So Venus is in the constellation. Oh no, I don't know. How do you frame that? But anyway, Venus is present in our skies at the moment, and it's so we could see that it links into the, I guess, the era, the epoch of Aquarius, and it links into the season. Thank you, Lauren, of Cancer, which is all about coming home, but it's also prior to coming home to other is coming home to self. And in a way, that's the kind of rather huge difference really between twin souls and other connections, is that twin souls are one soul that has split into two. And so it's why it's a resonance game. It's why it's a resonance experience. It's because it's about finding, it's about those energies triggering, catalyzing one another for healing. And we've come here as beings who are resolute, who are strong, who are amazing, who probably have incredible lineages, who have been here as souls from the beginning of time, and we have come here to heal those ancestral lines back through to the beginning of time. And as we do that, we are balancing and neutralizing the energies that each of us carry, us and our twin. And so the divine feminines, of course, have been leading the way on that end of the work, while the divine masculines have been holding space and grounding into the physical. And now we come into greater alignment with one another. Let me see what else is in here. So I don't know if I said this already, but it doesn't matter. I'll say it again. So we are bringing in the new keys, the new codes for humanity. They are being activated now. So we know that they kind of became, what would you say, in the mix. It became clear that they were coming back online, or back in our viewing perspective, and now they're being activated through. So that's what I'm showing, is that through the solstice they're being activated. And it's kind of like that. That's how it shows up for me, this connection between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The masculine have been showing up in a lot of different ways, but in this kind of way. You can see them, that this is the action. You know how when they're in the ring, they're moving from their left foot to their right foot. When they're in their training, they're doing that. It's to do with keeping their muscles switched on, and to keep their quick twitching muscles. And so that's how I've been watching the divine masculine, and that left to right motion. It takes on many kind of reasons or rationale, but it's like they're not moving forward but they're hopping on the spot, or they're jogging on the spot, because they're waiting, because they are waiting for the timing. They're waiting for the whistle. They're waiting for the go light. They're waiting for the thrusting propulsion that will come. And I believe that it's going to come in a very collective motion. And thank you for speaking to one another and giving one another support on there. That's really lovely. So yes, So this organic divine source creation and our own divinity is coming fully online once again. So we are returning to these incredible gifts and skills that we hold, and that what we are to do is to be in the merging of these, the embodiment of these. We've talked about these. We've talked about the embodiment coming in through the soul star. We've talked about the embodiment coming in through the causal chakra. We've talked about the embodiment coming in through the crystalline earth star chakra. And so we are embodying through from the past, from our past lives, from the higher and from the earth, and this grounding it in, this anchoring it into the earth to make it accessible through the grid lines. And everybody will have a different role to play, because there are many roles to play, and each of us will be doing a different aspect of the work. And it's really, I want to say that it's very important to not get caught up in having, well, I guess you could call it having ego around it. But let's not engage in the game of, well, you're right and I'm wrong, or I'm right and you're wrong, and the work that I do is bigger than the work that you do, or the work that I do is more important than the work that that person does. This is a collaborative team effort. Everybody has the best way to describe this, what I'm speaking about, is a jigsaw, this giant jigsaw, and each of us holds a piece. And until each of us has completed that piece, so that piece might be layering up the cardboard and laminating it, and then painting the piece and making sure it aligns with the pieces around us, and then putting a gloss over the top of it to seal it, and then putting it in the right place. That's a sort of an analogy for what each of us has done here. And the board is the earth, and we're not going to get caught up in the shape of the earth, because all of this is, according to Gaia, is like a dimensional perspective, and also another distraction, because, as she has always said to me, would be much better if humanity focused on their level of consciousness rather than getting caught up with what shape is the planet. So we are in this timing. It does seem delayed. It has felt delayed. And what I want to say is it just can't be. It can't be delayed. But what it is our human connection to time. So you'll remember, I think, at the beginning of last year, or may have even been the year before that, we talked about the Chronos, the god of time, the release of it, the relaxation of the three-dimensional construct of the clock, that being released, of that being in the process of dissolving. And it's one of the things that keeps us trapped. It's one of the things that keeps us in this loop of feeling like we're missing out, of feeling like we haven't got it right, of feeling like we are being punished, of feeling like life is unfair. And I want you to think of this. Let me just see where I'm up to here. Okay. Oh, well, I'll just keep going. That I want you to think about okay. I want you to think about this. What if you know that there is a 7-year-old girl, and her daily experience is being raped, and that there are still many of those, and that the work that we are doing is releasing all of the ties, the binding, the hidden, that we are shining a light on those spots of darkness that have not yet been illuminated, discovered, and undone. And so let's focus on that, and we might do something about that collectively here. Well, let's do that now. So let us call upon Creator. Let's call upon all of the energies of the goddesses, of the ascended masters, of the higher dimensional beings who have a vested interest in the positive outcome for planet Earth, who wish for humanity to be freed from slavery, who wish for the planet to be held back in its original divine organic place, in its original divine organic blueprints, held in the galaxy as the living library of the galaxy. And that all of these beings place focus now in this moment on all beings in our earth, particularly at this time, having focus on the children who are not living their lives in their light and their potential, in freedom, in love, in safety. And let us visualize that every space, place, and spot in and under and above the earth is illuminated, is lit, so these children can be seen and found, rescued, restored, and loved. That they may have a lifetime experience now of being held and being held by loving arms and loving hearts. And that they feel safely wrapped in those arms now. Itia shiakana atako oata. Ishitia na 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 akuata. Ishiato na 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 ishiato. Ia po 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 atia nakanaratia siato. Ia shishanana kiarana iato. Ya toto kianana hiasisi shitiana uatia shianana. Yato ya Vaishyanana hiyata iya shianara nanana he he he. And take a breath. And as you breathe out, fill your breath with the light of unity, consciousness, and of love. So as each of us come home to self, we come into our empowered, aligned, healed, whole, love-filled self. And then we come, those of us who are on this divine counterpart journey, we know that our divine counterpart is in process with that and is in either in the last part of that process or is in awaiting the ringing of the bell for the next round to begin. That is so, and that we wish for all our love and all our light and all our powers to be bestowed on those who are finding and rescuing and saving and rehabilitating these children. Now, the other thing that I get, which is so interesting, it just keeps being shown to me that it is, and it's, this is not true of all things, because we know that there are many twins who are already together. Well, we don't know how many, but we know that there are many. But this is like this next part. This is this part that we are a part of. And it shows up to me that it is like the divine masculine move together. It's so strong. It really is. So everything has to be in alignment for that to occur. This is the why some of them are moving from left to right, why some of them are writing their lists of what they have to do, why some of them are ticking off the list, why some of them are checking that the list is complete, why some of them are packing and some of them are checking their packing, why some of them are waiting on the pier, why some of them are sitting at the airport, why some of them are still in completion of release, of tying up the old, of releasing old or completion of old contractual obligations to family and friends, because we're shifting dimensions. So everything has to be tidy. Everything has to be tidied up and like knotted off. So if you think about that, everything is threaded and everything has had to be cut, and now everything has to be rethreaded, rebraided, all of the strandings. And so we're in various phases of that. But these new templates, these new grid lines that we hold, that we catalyze when we come together, these create the new, remember, the new relational patterns, the new templates, the new templates that relate to unity consciousness, the new templates that relate to our higher way of being as a species and as a series of interconnected species, not just human, that we are quantum jumping. Remember that. I had this rather delightful experience a little while ago with someone in my clinic, and I'm speaking to this person about quantum, and that this is the space that we're working in now, and things can be both expanded and contracted all in the same moment, and that each thing can have an impact on the other, and this sort of ripple effect, and all of the rest of it. And I said to them, about entanglement, and that we're in the disentanglement. And when I asked them what they did, they told me they were a lecturer in quantum in quantum science. So I thought that was interesting. So we have beings who are, a part of this highly conscious community, who sit in all the various spectrums. Right. So remember that this is ending a way of being in and on our world forever. That we are ending something that is never going to be allowed to occur again on this planet. That is what we are a part of. We have been here as part of the crew, as the ground crew, ground crew Gaia. We could call ourselves members of that. We've been here to do that, to turn over the rocks, to shine a light on the dark, to look for the mold and the moss and the mildew that's harboring other things, to show up what doesn't belong, to identify what is not of love, firstly within ourselves, and then for others. That is I always think of that ad that used to be on television in New Zealand where these two boys are playing in the sand pit, and one of them says to the other, "It's a mighty big job." And that's what we've been doing. We have been doing a mighty big job here as light workers. But here as twins, as divine counterparts, we've been doing all of that in amongst the whole field of relationship. And so that has been the healing back through time and space, the disentanglement, the undoing, the ancestral lines, um, the family wounding, the various lifetimes, dimensions and epochs and eras. And now we are in the final ends of that. And yeah, it's it it can feel painful to say that we must be a little more patient, because I know we've been patient, but we are definitely in the end parts, and we now will witness the sequential closing off of many things. So remember, we are a part of the team here to undo the old, to hold space for others, and to rebuild the new. And, I have realized that it is the timing that keeps tripping us up. It continually trips us up. That we need to take a look at things now, remind ourselves to take a look at things from a sequential perspective, that certain things must happen before others. You have to have the container in your hand before you can fill it. You can only fill it to the top before you might need to go and empty it somewhere else, or before you boil it or clean it or add it to something. There's a sequence. We take our clothes off before we get into the shower. We dry ourselves before we get dressed. That's a sequence. And so let's start feeling into the sequence of events. And so keep coming back to, feeling this love, feeling this alignment, noticing how you feel, what's happening in your body. Check out what it means to you, what's the message that it gives you. Hold the space through this time as we are receiving these incredible, never been to the earth before codes and frequencies to to re I don't know what the word is. There's been so many words that have come. But in a way, we are being reincarnated, we are being reset, we are being rebirthed, we are being reconstituted, we're being reformed. All of those things, but through the physical form, in order that we can reset this new way of being on the planet, through the grids, through the templates, in relationship. And we are going to watch rapid decline and the realization of that for the masses. This is, we cut the track through the bush. We have done that, and now we have to hold space and send good vibes to the people who are coming up the track. And then when enough of them get up the track, the new arrives. But in the meantime, we can be in this realization of creation of what is right in front of us. That can be our reality. We can sit in this fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional frequency space, that it's our job to be there, to try and stay there. And then as that happens, it's this other sequence of things that occurs. So our hearts connect up. We create a new template. We connect in with our divine counterpart. That's, it's close in the sequence. And And then that creates another tipping point. That sends a signal to the sun. The sun releases this wave that enables humanity to come into higher consciousness, this ascension wave. We've been receiving them bit by bit, and this will be the one that tips everything over as we return to our original place in the galaxy as the jewel and the crown of the galaxy, the living library, these new citizens of this new higher dimensional earth. That's us, Gaians. Hello. And I thank you. I thank you for having volunteered to be here and having, been clearly doing the work. And that's all that we can do. So I send you so much love from my heart. I feel you. I feel the stretch. I feel the pain in the heart. The divine masculines are definitely going through the feeling of pain in their hearts as they're being made poignantly aware that there is something going on that they are awakening to, I guess you could say. In many ways, this recognition of who their counterpart is all a part of this process at the moment. And yeah, the masculine definitely, they've been going through this reset of their own, and we will be there. We will be there, and it will be in perfect divine timing, not in our hands, but I just want to encourage us to hold space for one another in love and in the knowing, in the deep trust that this is all unfolding perfectly in a way that we cannot necessarily see all the components of. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for supporting one another in the chat. And happy solstice. Talk again soon.